The Swag Lords have spoken. They have wanted us to do a live recording of playing favorites, and the year they chose is a fine vintage of 2014. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Eric.
How's it going?
So, without any further ado, let's jump into this thing.
Sounds good.
All right, let's start things off right at the beginning of the year in what is probably mostly in order. We're starting with Born of the Gods.
Yeah, so Born of Gods, actually interesting how I like a lot of cards. A lot of them are not good.
One of them is good, though, Eric.
Do you want to say yours first, I guess?
We'll warm up a bit. This set did actually have some good cards, as much as people meme on it. It's just it didn't have many expensive cards.
That's true.
Let's talk about some honorable mentions. Satyr Wayfinder, all sorts of budget cubes use that. It's a little dated 8 years later, but it's still fine.
Searing Blood.
Searing Blood, yeah. It's an okay burn spell. It was used at the time.
Yeah, and I mean, it was constructed interest as well. Kiora.
The original Kiora was close to my pick because I actually did really like her when she came out, and then I fell off hard.
Yeah.
Didn't end up being my pick. Xenagod is in here. Been used in combo stuff all the time.
Yeah.
However, my pick is without a doubt Perplexing Chimera, which Eric could have actually guessed, but our audience at home is going, why?
Our audience at home is going, what the fuck is that?
Remember that playing favorites is for our favorites, not the best card in the set. And Perplexing Chimera holds a special place in my heart as one of my favorite troll additions to any blue EDH deck that's heavy on politics.
Yeah.
So Perplexing Chimera, for those who don't know, one of the greatest cards ever printed, is 4 and a blue for a 3/3 enchantment creature Chimera. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. If you do, you may choose new targets for the spell. Importantly, since it changes hands, now the opponent gets to use that effect on more spells later, and it gets shuffled around the board. It's a very fun EDH card.
It is.
This card has given me more positive emotions in life than several relationships and all of the cards in BNG.
So I accept that because, yeah, Perplexing Chimera is one of your joys in life for blue decks and EDH. And I can't even hate it because, it's fun. Even when, it's being used, against you, you get to then do it against somebody else. So I accept that. Not really cube-worthy or any other format other than EDH, but yeah, good fun.
All right, but enough of my pick. Let's move on to Eric's pick. Brimaz, King of Orso. I've never pronounced Brimaz's fucking name before on air, have I?
Oreskos?
Oreskos.
I mean, not that it matters, because that's not my pick. Yeah, I mean, I guess Brimaz was technically an option, but Brimaz is trash and has been trash. Always will be trash. So no. My option and my pick was Courser of Kruphix. This is very telling of one particular line. So Courser of Kruphix is 1 green for a 2/4 enchantment creature centaur. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library if it's a land card. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. So it's got not really look at the top card of your library, but you play with it revealed. So it's kind of like looking at the top card of your library. Very similar. No, but really, I do actually really like Courser of Kruphix, as much as I hate playing against it when I'm the aggro deck, because oh boy is that annoying. It's just a solidly fun card to play.
And to be honest, it could have been my pick if I wasn't actually very emotionally attached to Perplexing Chimera for very dumb reasons. Cursor probably could have been my pick as well. I tried not to overlap because Eric already had his pick locked in.
Yeah.
Xenagod would be the other one.
I was thinking about maybe doing Satyr Wayfinder, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit, and it's always just been a solid hole filler.
And that's kind of how I've always felt about Xenagod, which is why I think it has to be Cursor. Yeah,
Courser of Kruphix is just one of those, it's center of mind when I think about those types of effects and that type of roadblocky green creature that's doing land stuff, and it just does it all, honestly. And it's a 2/4, so
And while I have no real emotional attachment to Brimaz, I think this podcast's mere existence and the memes from it has made it important enough that it could have also been my pick, but that would have ruined the joke of making it your fake pick.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. All right, Brad, what's the next set chronologically in 2014?
It should be Journey into Nyx, which is not Nyx as a 3-letter code. It's Joe, which is stupid.
Yes, obviously.
So, talking about Joe, there's actually a lot less than I thought there would be to pick from.
There's a few, like, kind of obvious ones. Like, we got the Temple, Mana Confluence. They're, like, lands. They're not super exciting, but they're solid. They're nice to have options.
It's very hard for me to pick a land as my favorite card out of a set.
It has to do something special.
Even, like, my favorite lands probably aren't my favorite cards out of their set. And I like lands pretty well.
Right. And we've got, like, All-Star, like, Banishing Light. It's pretty generic.
I wasn't that huge on it when it came out, and I'm at the point where I don't give a shit. If we recorded this 4 years ago, I may have picked Banishing Light.
We've got great standouts like Eidolon of Great Revel.
That's the one that I almost picked.
Yeah.
But it's more Anthony's thing than mine. I think my attachment to Eidolon of the Great Revel is Anthony hammering it for so long on third power over the years.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically my attachment to that card.
And, like, I do like the card as well, because it does the aggro. But, yeah, I think it's not really my card.
All right, so what is your card, Eric?
My card is Nyx Fleece Ram.
Why, Eric?
Nyx Fleece Ram is 1 and a white for a 0/5 enchantment creature sheep. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life.
That's not what I fucking asked, Eric. Why?
I mean, I just read the card. Obviously, that's why. Read the fucking card, idiot.
Because if there's one thing you love doing, it's gaining life.
Yeah. So, to start with, like, great arts, cool stuff on that. But for some reason, I have an attachment to this card just because enchantments matters is a thing. And, like, this is an enchantment that slows things down. It's a 0/5, so it, like, blocks everything. You're gaining a little bit of life. And it's an adorable little sheep. So, is it a good card? No. Have I tried jamming it in just about anything I can even remotely defend? Yes, absolutely. 100%. I've even tried playing it in Modern.
Can we talk for a moment about the fact that sheep have horrifying eyes?
I'd rather not, because, yeah, it's kind of nightmare-inducing.
Because you were like, it's a cute little sheep. And I'm like, sheep are not fucking cute. Sheep are creepy.
I mean, so long as you ignore the fact that they're like demons, they're super cute.
All right. Let's just not even segue. So let's move to my card. Fuck you.
It's Sigiled Starfish, right?
No.
'Cause you loved that during draft.
I liked Omen Speaker. Sigil Starfish was whatever.
Oh, it was Omen Speaker.
Omen
Oh,
Speaker
shit.
I loved, but that wasn't this set.
Man.
So my pick is Eidolon and Blossoms. Much to the amusement of some of the patrons right now.
They called it, man.
Eidolon of Blossoms, while I don't think enchantments matter is good in Cube, is something that I've tried jamming in more formats than I ever should.
Yeah.
I've tried to jam it in a Cube. I've tried to jam it in Modern. Tried to jam it in when it was Standard for like the 3 minutes I tried to play Standard in this format before bailing. Actually, this format at the time, if Arena had existed, I probably would have dumped money into. Because it was like that we had left Standard. Like, we didn't play Standard anymore. But, like, there was just enough going on in this time period where I was like, I kind of want to try playing Standard again and play some jank.
I actually played some Magic Online Theros. So if Arena was a thing, I would have almost certainly been playing Arena during this time.
Yeah, needless to say, I've got several enchantment EDH decks because I own 30 EDH decks at any point in time. Yeah, Eidolon of Blossoms just kind of has to be my pick. It is weird to me how much I preferred cards in Born of the Gods over Journey to Nyx in hindsight. Because I remember hating Born of the Gods. It was like Brimaz and trash.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I guess I just thought of it wrong for Cursor of Crucifix or something. Theros block kind of blends.
It does blend very much. And yeah, I could see Corsair being in Journey. But Born of the Gods was interesting because, like, a lot of the cards were cool, but they weren't good. Whereas, like, Journey, a lot of those cool cards kind of don't exist. I don't know. But we can move on to the next set that came out chronologically in 2014. Brad, what is that?
I'm pretty sure it's M15. I may have screwed up which side of M15 Conspiracy landed on, but I'm sticking with my guns on the order that I pasted things in.
All right, then. M15, we've got some interesting ones.
Eric picked Goblin Rabble Master.
I picked Goblin Rabble Master. That's pretty obvious. We can get that out of the way.
But other cards in this set include.
Yeah, there were other interesting cards in this set. Waste Not actually almost was a run for the money until like Goblin Rabble Master was like, huh, duh. But Waste Not's such a fucking cool card. I love it so much. It's not like good, and it's not something that like you can like force to be good, but it's so cool. Similarly, I actually really like the design of Aggressive Mining. That card fascinates me from a design aspect, and I would love to see more of that type of using lands as a resource beyond just tapping for mana and that type of thing. You can't play lands. It's just a very interesting card to me.
So, getting Eric's boring pick out of the way, because no one cares that he picked Rabble Master. We all knew it was going to happen.
I couldn't not pick Rabble Master.
I think a non-0% of why they voted for 2014 was you picking Rabble Master, but I will not give the patrons this. Moving on. Scuttling Doom Engine almost made it as my pick because I really liked it when it came out.
I still really like it.
I still think it's good, especially in budget cubes because it's like 5 cents.
It's definitely the fixed worm coil.
Wow. Wadsy, this is the 18th time you fixed Worm Coil. But the actual pick for me is Rexage, which conveniently we forgot to mention until now. I love Rexage. When we were in Vegas, I bought an altered version that has Link on it.
Which is really cool, actually.
It is. Everyone forced me to take it out of the cube because they were being little pissy bitches about it. I don't know why you all didn't like it, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to me that Rexage came out here. Like, it feels like it's been around forever.
It actually felt like just about right. For some reason, I remember it being M14, but I guess I'm remembering it being 2014.
Maybe, yeah. Because, it's just one of those that, like, to me, it felt like it's been around since, like, we've started playing Magic again. But, I mean, 2014's been quite some years, so I guess it makes sense for Rexage. But, yeah, M15, not the most exciting. There were some interesting cards, and, I mean, our picks are... kind of dummy good picks for Cube.
It's definitely the reason M sets died for a while because it was a pretty bad stinker of a set. And I felt like it was just like M14 and M15 suffer from being like they had to release something in summer, but they didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like they just needed certain things to get printed, and they had like this weird thing about printing old cards in new sets. Some would argue they had that right up until they realized they could just make you pay them directly for them. So, meh on the set overall, but yeah, there were some amazing pieces of history in it. Let's talk about a set that was way harder to make picks for.
Yeah, Conspiracy. I love Conspiracy. It is one of my favorite sets that WotC's ever made. There are a lot of cool cards. I mean, any of the Draft Matters cards are so cool.
So, like, real talk. We're getting real on this episode.
All right.
If it didn't exist until now and it came out today in the middle of everything else, would we still love Conspiracy? I feel like yes, because, like, I still loved Mystery Boosters.
I think I would still like Conspiracy, but if Conspiracy 2 came out, I don't know if I'd like that.
Fair enough.
But, like, Conspiracy gave us very interesting Draft Matters and the Conspiracy cards, and, like, the rest of the set was actually pretty well designed as, like you said, like, Mystery Booster. That's just a very cool set design of like how it was all picked and curated. And I think Conspiracy was very similar of a kind of like passion project, whereas like they actually really cared about the set and the cards and somebody really enjoyed it.
I think that's why I still like Battle Bond. Is it's not like the greatest set ever. I didn't like the whole two-headed giant thing very much.
Yeah.
But you could tell it was handcrafted with love. To get into it, Conspiracy had the conspiracies. It also had the draft matter cards. And then just on top of all that, it had really good designed cards in it too that I love.
Yeah. So like some of the good noteworthy cards being like Cogwork Librarian, Lore Seeker.
Even the bad ones I like even like Aether Searcher, which is not a good card.
I do love that card though, yeah.
And like we can argue there's like the power pieces in Backup Plan and Power Play.
Right, yeah. Those are not particularly fair or advantageous proclamation.
Yeah, so like those aren't going to be my pick because they have problems, but even those I'm a big fan of. I just love everything to do with the conspiracy mechanic and draft matters on cards. Polyano almost could be my pick.
Yeah.
Which is like a really, like, your land is a group effort to make you a tri-land. And like is part of your drafting process. It makes everyone at the table involved.
Yeah, and we just talked about like the fact that like to pick a land for this type of thing would be like, it would need to do something amazing. You know, like it'd have to be not just like a good card. And like, yeah, that's fair. That's actually an interesting land. It's fun. It's cool. I mean, there's Dax Faden in here. Dax Duplicant. That was a fun card as well.
I like Dax Duplicant more than Dax Faden, for what it's worth. My opinion on Dax Faden is mostly negative. It's just he's here for power reasons.
Yeah, and that's fair, but like, still a powerful card, still a good card. Dax Duplicant, we jammed that for a while. It feels like the majority of the cards that came out in Conspiracy could be on this list. And there was only like 60. But like just about every one is interesting, even if it's not particularly amazing.
So let's get into our picks. You can go first.
All right, I'll take mine. We've got Grenzo Dungeon Warden. So X black red for a legendary creature, Goblin Rogue, 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, put X +1/+1 counters on it. You can pay 2, put the bottom card of your library into your graveyard. If it's a creature card with power less than or equal to Grenzo's power, put it onto the battlefield. I absolutely love that ability. The take your bottom card and put it into the graveyard. And then, like, if it's a creature that's smaller, you get to put it on the battlefield. With the ability that's already, like, designed in with the X so you can make Grenzo larger to start with. Grenzo Dungeon Warden is such an interesting design. It's such an interesting card that I love it. I really do truly love it.
Not the greatest card in this set. Doesn't quite compare to Council's Judgment.
No.
Not the most important one for Cube in Cogwork Librarian, Lore Seeker, stuff like that.
Coercive Portal for Brad.
Coercive Portal almost became my pick. It really could have been.
The amount of times you've put that in Cube, fucking hell.
But my pick is WorldKnit, which is just the summation of why Conspiracy is the greatest. So WorldKnit, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a conspiracy. As long as every card in your card pool started the game in your library or in the command zone, lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And like, it just shapes the way you draft. It makes everything fun and weird. It brightens up a draft.
It really does.
You don't have to play conspiracies every time you draft, but having access to them for your draft is like one of the most important things I can give for a piece of advice for longevity.
And WorldKnit does an exciting job of it. Like some of the other ones, like Backup Plan, are good, but WorldKnit makes stories.
Mm-hmm.
And it is also interesting that WorldKnit changes how your draft goes. It changes how your deck construction goes. It changes how your deck plays. It does all of that unique stuff in one nice, neat little package. So, huge fan of WorldKnit as well. Very cool. Conspiracy, like I said, I think Conspiracy is one of my favorite sets, and I see no reason that, like, if that came out today, even with, like, a billion sets coming out every 2 months, I'd still enjoy Conspiracy. I think it was just a banger.
All right, let's move on to another actual really good set. Up next is Khans of Tarkir, KTK.
There's some few standouts like Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, there are.
I've heard that those might be good.
And, you know, that's ignoring stuff like Monastery Swift Spear is also here.
Yeah.
You've got fun ones that I remember playing in Cube. Sagu Mauler.
Dude, Deflecting Palm is one of the funniest.
Deflecting Palm we'll talk about after we talk about this set. It's going to come up again.
Yeah. Man, Deflecting Palm. That was naughty stuff.
Sorin Solemn Visitor is another one. So is the Sarkhan in this set, although I half wanted to pick Sarkhan until I realized he's not even my favorite Sarkhan anymore.
Which is, yeah, it's fair.
Like, I just really like War Sarkhan, which is probably in my top 3 for War of the Spark, which is a legendary set to talk about.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Eric. So, there's a lot of Incons that is good.
Yeah.
What did you actually pick, though?
Well, I picked the best, and that is Sorin Solemn Visitor. So, yeah, I mean, Sorin's 2 white-black for Planeswalker 4 starting loyalty +1 until your next turn. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and lifelink. -2, put a 2/2 black vampire creature token flying into the battlefield. -6, you get an emblem at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep that player sacrifices as a creature. I really like Sorin Solemn Visitor.
Eric really likes Sorin Solemn Visitor a lot.
I played a modern black-white tokens deck because of Sorin Solemn Visitor for way longer than I should have because it wasn't particularly good. It turns out playing a 4-mana Planeswalker didn't work out particularly well in Modern, especially since it wasn't Jace.
Well, Jace didn't exist yet at that point in Modern. The real problem is when Twin was in the format.
Yeah, that didn't help at all. So, yeah, I've played Sorin Solemn Visitor quite a few times, and every time I played it, I was still happy. Even when I was losing, I was like, yep, I'm doing the thing I want to do. I'm playing Magic the way I want to play Magic, and I don't care what else is happening. So that was one of my most fun Modern decks that was not just like a spice kind of thing. It was just like a deck that I put together and was having fun with.
Yeah, and this is a card that I know Eric and I have argued about for longer than most other cards in Magic history because I am a fan of Lord of Innistrad. And in my cube, we ran Lord of Innistrad for very long, including past Solemn Visitor's existence. And Eric constantly wanted to make this swap over and over again.
Just about every time that one came up, I would be like, I wish this was Solemn Visitor.
Yeah, we did it at one point where we did the swap after you angered me. It was specifically with your fucking spike call out during the draft. And I remember this still not being good there, which kind of proved my point, but it also proves why this is Eric's pick without a doubt.
Yeah. Similarly, I think your pick is pretty obvious.
Yeah, mine's pretty obvious for anyone who knows the show. It would not have been my pick when the set came out. I actually liked several of the cards more than this when the set came out, but the show has made me more fond of this card in retrospect, which is Hardened Scales. Hardened Scales, single green mana for an enchantment. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be placed on a creature you control, that many +1/+1/+1 counters are placed on it instead. We did the whole thing where we were experimenting with it right after Ixalan.
Yeah, because there was that one land that flipped.
Mm-hmm. So that era of Magic to me made me respect Hardened Scales more and like it more in general and like wanting to play with Evolve and all that stuff. So in retrospect, I think it's become one of my favorites in the set, even though if you asked me when the set came out, I didn't care anything about Hardened Scales.
It is hilarious how much Hardened Scales has moved up compared to like when it was originally released to today. It's just like a complete 180 for how much you like that card.
All right, it's time for us to hit the last set, though.
All right.
We're not ending on a bang.
No, we're not. This is Commander 14.
Yeah, this is notoriously the bad year of Commander. This was the monocolor decks that everyone hates.
Holy shit, was it bad. Like, I remember it being bad, but then, like, scrolling through, I was like, oh god, I need to find a card that I care about at all.
It was easy for me for a single card, but I couldn't name my second pick. Because I can't even pick your pick. This is a hard set to choose for.
Yeah, I'll do mine, because yours...
Okay.
Yours is interesting. I picked Titania, Protector of Argoth. 3 green for a 5/3 legendary creature elemental. When Titania, Protector of Argoth, enters the battlefield, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whenever a land you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. I don't fully endorse this card, but I had to pick one. And I do like Titania's idea. If she had 1 more toughness, I think I would have actually really liked Titania, and it would be like one of those cards of like, oh yes, this is what I enjoy. This is what I want to do. Because like the whole returning land from graveyard to battlefield, I love that. It's so fun. It's kind of like what I do. And then, you know, getting the 5/3 elementals, little cherry on top. So Titania's my pick, but I'm not completely sold on it.
So there's a couple things that I could have picked that I definitely didn't. But if you were thinking I was going to pick Duretti, the 4-drop mono red Duretti, you don't know me.
I didn't even pick that.
I hate that card.
It's better than Feldon, but Feldon's like complete trash. So
I also am not picking Flesh Carver just because it was pretty good in queue for a few years. Like, meh.
It was only meh.
Malicious Affliction was never good in cube.
No.
Omnixilis could be a funny meme pick, but I won't do it.
I could have swore you were going to do that just because it's like the amount of times we've
just because it would
about...
anger you, yes.
Yeah.
No, my pick, to remind you that I said we were going to talk about Deflecting Palm again, my pick is Comeuppance, one of my all-time favorite EDH cards. Comeuppance is not very good, however it reads, 3 and a white for an instant, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and planeswalkers you control this turn by sources you don't control. If damage from a creature source is prevented this way, Comeuppance deals that much damage to that creature. If damage from a non-creature source is prevented this way, Comeuppance deals that much damage to that source's controller. Comeuppance is one of the funniest instants in existence. It is very hard to make it work in EDH, but it feels so satisfying when someone combos out and you go, no, you died. I won.
I think the part that I hate is the amount of times it's been cast spitefully, not efficiently.
Yes.
You make the point of like, oh, you comboed, haha, it's funny. That's not when you fucking cast it, though. You always cast it as this is the funniest time I could cast it. It's not particularly good for me or anybody else at the table, but I'm going to cast it because it's funny.
And this is why even when I'm playing white, I'm still the Grixis player.
Yeah, basically. Oh, man. That is absolutely your pick, and I hate it.
So yeah, there were other picks too, like Containment Priest is not very good. I can name a lot of cards in this set that are not very good.
Yeah, most of the cards.
But yeah, for the not very goods, I'm going with the one that makes me happy inside, which is Comeuppance.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I mean, 2014. I know we ended kind of poorly in that year, but it started off pretty well. I mean, I actually, looking back, I like quite a few of the Born of the God cards. Journey was solid.
Ignoring the fact that C14 just is pretty crap. The rest of this year was pretty good.
Yeah.
M sets are M sets. This is not one of the like legendary M sets. This is what most M sets looked like.
Right. And we got a few cards out of it, but like Conspiracy could have been the only fucking set, and I'd be like, yeah, 2014 was solid.
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, yeah. KZK is also so good. Like,
yeah.
I struggled when I was picking, like, I kind of had to pick Hardened Scales in the end, like, following my heart. But, like,
right.
I could have picked Deflecting Palm for the same deck that I played Comeuppance in. I could have picked quite a few cards here. Like,
I mean, Abzan Falconer.
yeah, I didn't even mention Abzan Falconer. That's a great one.
Yeah. And I mean, all of the Ascendancies.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Sidisi.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool cards in KTK. That's true. But C14, M15 kind of let us down a little bit.
I don't think M15 let us down. It's an M set.
It's fine for an M set, but...
No, the letdown to me is honestly Journey.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Like, Born of the Gods actually snuck through. Like, probably because I had, like, rock bottom expectations. And then Journey, I just remember liking more than I did.
I don't know. 2014 was solid. I wouldn't say it's one of the favorites other than Conspiracy. And Solemn Visitor, because, like, I love that card.
I'll just say Conspiracy and KTK, which I'm sure came out very close together, and I definitely didn't screw up the order of this. All right, that's enough of that, though. Let's get out of here.
Sounds good.